children. Hello. My name is Priscilla. I'm here to do a presentation for the challenge, for Ambassador's Challenge for Institute of Economics and Peace, Institute for Economics and Peace. Today being the 22nd of November 2024. So we are looking at the topic Global Challenges and Local Realities. Understanding peace, terrorism, and ecological threat through the lens of recent flooding in Isheri North, Opik, Lagos. You all know that we just experienced flooding around this area, right? Yes. So we are looking at how we can relate the data from the Institute for Peace, for Economics and Peace, as it relates to us here, and how it can be useful to us using the 8 pillars of peace. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Today we are diving into some of the most critical issues shaping our world, which is global peace, terrorism, and ecological threats. Based on the 2028 data report from the Institute for Economics and Peace, that's the IEP. That's what we have here. Based on their data and information gotten from Global Peace Index, which is what we have here, global global terrorism index and the ecological threat report. We also take a closer look at a situation that hits very close to us here, which is the flooding that we just talked about. So let me introduce what this stands for. The Institute of Economics and Peace is a non-partisan, non-profit think tank dedicated to shifting the world's focus to peace as positive, achievable, and tangible measure of human well-being and progress. Let's look at the IEP report for 2023. That's the Global Peace results. So the Global Peace Index, which is this, states that last year terrorism was global peace deteriorated in some countries. The Global Peace Index covers 163 countries, covering 99.7% of the world's population, and it uses 23 indicators across 3 domains. So last year, that's in 2023, Global Terrorism Index deteriorated by 0.42%. 84 countries became more peaceful compared to 2022. 79 countries deteriorated compared to 2022. That's talking about peace right now. So let's try to understand what the Global Peace Index 2023 is all about. The Global Peace Index measures the relative peacefulness of countries worldwide, analyzing factors like safety, ongoing conflicts, militarization, and militarization. The 2023 GPI reports a slight increase in global violence due to rising conflicts, instability, and economic uncertainty. The key statistics for those, the data for the key statistics for Global Peace Index for last year. Global peacefulness deteriorated by 0.452%. The most peaceful nation so far, they've been holding that position for years now, and that's Iceland and some other countries like New Zealand and Ireland. The least peaceful countries have been Afghanistan. They've held the lowest rank due to ongoing conflict. They are still fighting over there. So they are like, the peace there cannot overemphasize. So now let's look at the Global Terrorism Index 2023. The GTI provides insight into terrorism patterns, focusing on the drivers of terrorism and regions most affected in 2023. A small decrease in global terrorism rates was reported. However, terrorism roots in social, economical, and political instabilities are far from being over. Key findings: there was a decrease in terrorism-related deaths, as at last year, down by 1.2%. The top countries affected are still Afghanistan. You know, there's still a lot of fighting going around those countries. Iraq, Syria, there's still a lot of fighting going on there. Emerging threats, growth in terrorism is seen as areas facing environmental stress and political upheaval. Then let's now move on to the ecological threat report for 2023. The ecological threat report covers various ecological risks, including water stress, food insecurity, and natural disasters, which are anticipated to intensify in the coming decades. That's in the coming years. It will go up if nothing is being done about all this. The key statistics are that 2.6 billion people are already vulnerable to water stress. And we all know that we have to look for our own water here, even in OP. 1.4 billion people face severe food insecurity risk. Climate-induced migration, it is predicted that by 2050, 1.3 billion people may be displaced due to environmental threats, violence, and conflict. These figures underscore the urgency of addressing climate change and resource scarcity to avoid more frequent and severe natural disasters. The local impact of all these figures and things that we've been talking about, just like we have here, flooding in the Sherry North Open. Let's now connect this data to our reality here. Many of us witnessed the destruction of homes. So many houses were destroyed. So many people lost properties during the flooding that happened there. Just a few weeks ago, you all know very well, you could not go to Sherry North. Everywhere was flooded. Even I was affected because I had to leave my house too. Because everywhere was full of water. We had to go stay somewhere temporarily for that period. And went back when the flooding started to reduce. The opening of the Oyo Dam flooded our streets, revealing vulnerability in infrastructure and community preparedness. These conditions create the potential for severe social disruptions, which is why the IEP's 8 pillars of peace is being proposed for good governance, better quality of life, and peaceful communities. And that's what brings us to here. We are proposing these pillars of peace as you guys are growing up and you go back to your homes. You can, introduce these things to your parents. Let's continue to talk about it. We know that as the more we talk about these things, it will eventually get to the ears of the people in charge and something will be done. But it is not okay for us to just keep quiet. That's why we are trying to talk to you young ones as you're coming up, so that you know all these things. So that even when you hear them outside, you will at least know that you have had something like that before. Okay? Yes. All right. So let's now move on to the IEP's 8 positive peace pillars. Before talking about the peace pillars, we must know that there's something called negative peace and positive peace. Negative peace means the absence of conflict or violence, such as war or physical aggression. It is a passive state where there is no fighting, but the underlying causes of conflict, such as inequality, injustice, or lack of opportunity, may still exist in that environment. While positive peace means the attitude, institutions, and structures that create and sustain peaceful societies. It includes factors such as social security, strong institutions, economic development, and respect for human rights, which address the root causes of violence and promote long-term humanity. So let's look at the 8 pillars of peace that the IEP is proposing. One is sound business environment. We all know that with sound business environment, businesses will flourish, right? Yes. But floods disrupt such a situation for businesses to flourish. When there's flooding, you know people couldn't do business. People couldn't come out. It's only those that were not affected that could come out. But those that were affected could not go to their places of work. Some would not even do their business. The second pillar is well-functioning government. We all know that if we have well-functioning government, things will work in our community. The government will hear our voices. They will care about the things that affect us as a people. So well-being, which is quick, effective response to disasters, saving lives, emphasizing the need for responsive government. And the third one being low levels of corruption. We all know that corruption destroys a lot of things. It won't allow things to move. So if corruption is at the barest minimum, the country will be better for it. So low levels of corruption, because corruption undermines disaster response and resilience building efforts. Meaning that because of corruption, what happened here will not make the things that should ordinarily come to us, that's responding to the flooding. If we take away corruption was low, once they hear about it, they will quickly begin to do something concerning that. The response will be rapid if the corruption level is very, very low. Then number 4 is the equitable distribution of resources. When flood hits, equitable access and aid and support is crucial for community recovery. When flood hits, if we have even distribution of resources to take care of why this flooding is even coming up every year, we will not be having this kind of problems. And this is one of the pillars of peace that the IEP is proposing. So number 5 is acceptance of the rights of others, accepting that everybody has a right. You all have your own rights, even as children. Right to education, right to good life, right to good drinking water, rights to be who you are, you know. So everybody, so we have to learn to tolerate one another, right? So assisting vulnerable populations such as low-income families affected by flood strengthens community bonds. And that's a right that everyone should have. You know, we should be able to assist one another irrespective of what is happening in our environment. Then 6 is free flow of information. Accurate information on flood risk and preparedness is essential. If we have enough information, if we are given enough information by the people in charge, they can tackle this flooding thing, that people will have information and know when to move out on time and be safe from a lot of things. Some people, we don't really get adequate information. But if we have adequate information, people will be prepared for whatever is coming. They will know what is coming and they will be prepared on time, and movement too will be facilitated before it gets very, very bad. Then 7 is high levels of human capital. When communities are educated, they will be the better for it because they will be prepared and they will respond to disaster faster. So it's good for the government to try to educate people, especially as we are talking about this flooding situation in this area. Then the 8th pillar is good relations with neighbors. Mutual support with nearby communities help alleviate pressures during crisis. So communities around, if they come together to help the communities here that are being affected by flooding, or communities around that are being affected by flooding, you will see that the support will be massive, the help people will receive will come faster, and it will be very, very effective. So these are what IEP is all about, getting data that people can work with, and then presenting the 8 pillars of peace to government parastatals, individuals, and all of us as we grow up. We should know all these things and be able to live and work with them. I hope you are learning something. Yes. At least if you haven't learned anything, you have known about the Institute for Economics and Peace, right? Yes. So what does the IEP mean?
Institute for Economics and Peace.
Okay, how about GPI?
Global Economic Index.
GPI?
Global Index.
And ETR.
Economic Aspect Report.
Okay, can you tell me the 8 pillars of peace we have learned?
Sound business environment.
Second,
Well-functioning government.
3,
Low level of corruption.
4,
Equitable distribution of resources.
5,
Acceptance of the rights of others.
6,
Free flow of information.
7,
High level of human capital.
and the 8th one.
Good relations with neighbors.
Clap for yourself. So I'll encourage you all as you go to continue to learn about these things, learn more about the Institute for Economic and Peace and what they stand for. And if you want to know more about this institute, you can Google them and go to www.visionforhumanity.org. I hope you have all been able to learn something.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, clap for yourselves. So, do you have any questions? Sorry? Sorry? Visionforhumanity.org. So I implore you to all come on board and join the IEP on their work to better the lives of others. Thank you very much for your time. Okay. All right. Okay, if you don't have questions, my captain, don't look at the board. What is ETR? Ecological threats reports. Talk for yourself. Yes. Don't look at the board. Tell me what GCI means. No, that's GPI. GTI. Global Terrorism Index. Talk for yourself. Okay, over there, can you tell me what GPI means? Don't look at the board. Global Peace Index. Please clap for him. Can anybody tell me one of the 8 pillars of peace? Okay. All right, you. Don't look at the board. Sound business environment. Please, a round of applause for that. All right. Another one. What? Please, say it again. A round of applause for her. Over there. Low level of corruption. 3. Round of applause for her. Okay. There.
How Sarah?
Yes. Go ahead. Please clap for her. A round of applause for her. Okay.